Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Knowledge. Welcome to Brews and Reviews, and today I'm reviewing Wise Intelligent and Snowgoons Omnicide, and I am sipping on a German beer in honor of the Snowgoons, the German production group, and this is a Weihenstephaner, a lager from Germany, coming in at 5.1%, and this is a standard German lager, so let's get into this standard German production. Wise Intelligent and Snowgoons, they previously collaborated all the way back in 2007 on the stellar track Teacher's Trademark off of the Snowgoons album German Lugers. And I'm always checking for Snowgoons production. Every year that they drop an album, they're always the #1 top producer compilation album. They get some great talent together, and lately they've been working with a lot of 90s MCs. They've been doing production on several Onyx albums. They produced the Nine album King a couple years ago, and that was a great comeback project from a great 90s god of MCing, Nine. His 1995 album, Nine Lives, is not often talked about as one of the greats, but it is one of the great 90s hip-hop albums. And if you haven't heard that, do yourself a favor and go check out Nine Lives by Nine. So what the Snowgoons did for Nine a couple years ago, they are now doing for Wise Intelligent, coming through with this 4-track EP of production for the 90s MC. Wise Intelligent was from the group Poor Righteous Teachers that actually came out in 1989, so just on the cusp of the 90s and the movement that of course we all know would happen now in hip-hop. And he was part of the 5% Nation, had a lot of lyrics focused on the gods and earths, and you heard that in a lot of raps back in the day, most notably in Wu-Tang's early stuff, speaking about the 5% Nation of Islam. Wise Intelligent went solo with one album in 1996, and then he took a long hiatus, but apparently he's been dropping somewhat consistently, having 5 albums released in the 2010s, but this still feels like some kind of a comeback. Omnicide is a really hard title. Now, omnicide means human destruction from their own hands. Basically something like nuclear warfare that would knock out the whole human race and was also caused by humans, our own self-destruction or annihilation. And this just may be my favorite album title of the year. The title track, Omnicide, is the first track, and this one begins with some almost live sounding drums and some nice unique drum rolls at the very beginning and throughout the beat. There's many elements that come into this song, and that a bit drowns out Wise Intelligent's Wise Intelligent lyrics, and I wish they would have turned them up just a little bit in the mix to get over these multi-elements that he's competing with on the track. But that is one reason that I love Snowgoons production, is they put in so much into their mixes and so many elements into their beats. So I'm not going to knock it too much, but Wise Intelligent's voice and all the jewels that he's kicking does get lost a little bit among this beautiful chaos that's going on. Nevertheless, we are still making out a lot of his lyrics, and he is staying true to his name, kicking some wise intelligence. He's comparing America to Sodom and Gomorrah. He's talking about Trump and golf carts and Mar-a-Lago, and a great quotable where he says, "Still, Donald's not the problem. Presidents are more symbolic. Ideologic representatives of moral monsters." Great lines and insight in those bars. Trump could not exist without those who support him. And that's going to be more of a theme of this project than it is about the corruption of government itself. He goes on bringing up Trump's Tulsa campaign rally and how it was purposely scheduled on Juneteenth and how it was in a place where there was a race massacre. And he brings up some of the other recent racist-driven violence. And he points out that white people who support this kind of stuff just don't get it. The 1% doesn't care about them. and they'll make sure that no one in the world can advance no matter the race. From this track, we can tell that Wise Intelligent hasn't skipped a beat with his lyrics, that he's still staying sharp in his mind, and 30 years after his debut, he can still make us think with what he's saying on Wax. Possibly is the next track, and we can hear from the production on this. While Snowgoons are bringing back the rappers of the 90s, they're sticking with that mid-2000s style of production where they've got the high-pitched sample with the loop, the one-word loop, the chipmunk sample. And I love the chipmunk sample, and I think that's not only some great nostalgia, but it still sounds great as an instrumental. And going along with many of those song structures that we heard in the mid-2000s, Wise Intelligent is spitting some bars on the chorus, and it's all ending with this high-pitched sample. Possibly, she says, answering Wise Intelligent's question. Lyrically, this one is chock full of metaphors and wordplay, and there's so many jewels throughout. Among the best, he says, "I'm 3.14, your pie in the sky," and literal sexual, "I'm known to fuck around with words." Literal sexual, "I'm known to fuck around with words." And there's so many little couplets like that throughout the song that you really just want to get and rewind and listen to again. I almost wish that they would have dropped the beat out a few times, or maybe dropped a couple elements from them to really accentuate what he was saying, because he's spitting a lot of fire here and stuff that you do have to rewind to really catch his double entendres. Before I Wake, after two hype tracks, they're smoothing it out a little bit on the beat, but Wise Intelligent is still talking about the racism that's very prevalent in America. He says, "White folk had to do something to prove black lives ain't nothing. Barack Obama broke the shit at him, so they had to vote Trump in." And so much is packed into this song to talk about the inherent racism that exists in so many aspects of life, from calling the music industry modern slavery. And I'm sure Wise Intelligent didn't know that Kanye was going to go off like he did recently about his contracts, but it does all resonate and go into the same theme that he's getting at here. Whereas Kanye was going off the other day about how he's being cheated in his contracts. What does that say for lesser known artists? How are they being treated if one of the greatest selling artists of our time is still getting cheated through his label? To another great line on this where Wise Intelligence says, "Since 13, I've been on their hit list." This is a double entendre. He's talking about the 13th Amendment, which was the amendment that freed the slaves, but also turning the age of 13 for a black man becoming a teenager and all of a sudden viewed as a threat in American society. So a very poignant yet unfortunate double entendre, but something that needs to be heard by modern society. His story rounds out the four-pack and begins with an even more introspective beat, and it's clear Wise Intelligent is here to kick some more knowledge. He talks about how history is skewed and how it's taught with an agenda. Amongst many of the great lessons that he kicks on this track, he's talking about how Egypt is portrayed as part of the Middle East, and Egypt, of course, was one of the great first societies of the world, and so many accomplishments and technological advances there in history. But as it's considered part of the Mid East, it's taken out of Africa to take that away from black people and where that all originated. I never thought about this before, but I think he really has something to this and the whitewashing of history and taking Egypt out of Africa. And this may also be his most poignant chorus yet. He says, "Teachers tell me I'm inferior. Judges tell me I'm the worst. They try to tell me they're superior. I got a lot to unlearn." And that's powerful. And talking about the miseducation of our youth and the whitewashing of history. And I think this is a great way to end the album that was all themed on this concept of modern racism. This 4-song EP packs in a ton of lyrics and sticks to a very central theme. This is 2020 in a nutshell. While Wise Intelligent is calling out a lot of the recent racist incidents from Breonna Taylor and so forth, but even more prevalent is he's talking about the ongoing racism and the more systemic racism. Wise Intelligent is saying that this is nothing new, and it's not by accident either. This is America, and maybe something only Omnicide, unfortunately, can cure. Thank you for watching my review of the Snowgoons and Wise Intelligence Omnicide. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and hit like now and hit me up in the comments. If you didn't like it, also hit me up in the comments. I drop hip-hop and hops related content consistently, so subscribe to my channel. The link is popping up now. And there's also some other videos that you can check out that are popping up on the other side. Until I see you next time, keep buzzing.